Welcome to the George FTTV YouTube channel. Today we'll discuss mid prices, and we've got a list of 25, 30 which we'll go through today. So speak a little bit about on each one, so that should be good. And yeah, mid prices sort of can make or break your team early on. Might require the corrections like getting them in because they're awkward prices. Yeah, it can be a little bit awkward, but if you pick one and it goes well and you get that extra rookie off the field early, it's a big advantage. So especially if they can score in line with like a lower end primo. First one that comes to mind, maybe like a Pete Link can do like a 90 plus, something like that, but in the right conditions. So yeah, these sort of picks where will be important, I think, especially with 40 trades. Value becomes more important, and the value of a trade becomes less. So yeah, we'll discuss that. I'll also show my team now of what it currently looks like. I've just been playing around with it a little bit, and I think it'll stay this way for the time being until I say that, but it's never going to be true. But I'll keep it this way, I think, until mid prices pop up. So defense looks pretty standard. I've just gone 4 rooks. I don't know who plays it and whatnot yet, so not going to think too hard about that. Hopefully Bustlinger, because he's not really a risk of being subbed if he's playing key defender and he makes the team looks good. Maybe we can field him. He can give us like a 55-60. I actually haven't even looked at his numbers, so I'll have to look that up. But a key defender who can intercept, you would assume would score not too bad. For that price, mids, I've got Bont and Butters. I didn't have them in my other team. I was considering Butters, but I didn't have him. But yeah, I've thrown him in, and then I don't think I'll start Bont, but he's just there for now. Once if the mid prices pop up that I like, then the first player it's coming from is Bont, and as great as he is, he's very expensive, and I assume he'll have very high ownership. My guess would be maybe 40%, maybe more. If we can get him for 60, 70, maybe 80k cheaper, and we run, Sherry Butters, maybe TDK as captains, and they can match Bont early on, then I think we'll be fine, and we can get 60, 70k on the rest of the comp. No guarantee, but I think it's certainly possible, and just need the one down game to happen, or a few like lowish tons. But it's Bont, so it's going to be hard watch not owning him. I can't remember if I had Petrarch last time. Petrarch, Oliver, both have the later buy, round 15. So round 16 is the last buy, but everyone with a round 16 buy has an early buy as well. But Petrarch, Oliver have the latest buy where they don't have the early buy, so one that we can sort of just hold until then, all going well. I've gone back to Sherry DeConning. I can't remember. I think I might have had Flynn over Sherry, but I think might be a bit upside with Sherry, and pretty standard forward line. So that's enough on that. We'll get into mid prices. So rookies, whatever, we'll worry about that closer to round 1. So mid prices for me, I'll discuss those. Maybe we can zoom in a bit. Those between 500 and 200k. So I don't know what the exact definition for a mid price is. Is it like under 90 average or whatever? But for now, this is what we'll work with. But the first player I've got is Colby McKercher. I've seen a little bit of McKercher in teams. All I can say is I've seen that they want him up the ground a little bit. I don't think his contested game is, certainly in 2024, wasn't quite there yet. Obviously would have been 18, 19, so pretty tough to match with the big bodies, but did struggle to get it when he got a little bit of inside time. Same as half forward, but halfback suited him really, really well. I wouldn't be surprised if he plays halfback this year, just depending on how the experiment goes with fast tracking his development into the midfield. And it is a little bit congested in there. Lots of names, Simpkin, Parker, plus the other 3. LDU, Sheasel, Wardlaw, so it is sort of tough. Could he be playing wing, half forward? I'm not too sure yet. I think he'll end up at halfback with with Daniel, but they want him up the ground, and for me, that's enough to say no at this stage. I don't have Duggan on this list, but I don't have much to say, but I'll skip him. Maybe like more suited to DT, but next one I've got is Trent Rivers. Don't trust him yet at all. So his floor was quite poor. Like if we can just briefly look at this. Melbourne. So I think it was the last 10 weeks, something like that. Played a bit more midfield. Brought him in my fantasy team. Dropped a terrible, I think this is when I brought him in. Dropped to 58. Then traded him out. Popped off a bit. But yeah, The floor is pretty bad, like 40s. Otherwise, actually, aside from that 45 and 58, it's actually pretty good. I just don't trust him enough, so it's a no for me at this stage. But I think he'll outdo that price and do 90 plus. Should go through here. Next, I've got Farrell. With the Port mid prices, like you've seen a bit of Josh Sin, maybe Logan Evans. Like, where did the points go? Where do the kick-ins go? I think just wait and see. I don't think there's any point committing to these plays now. It's a bit of guesswork. Next one I have is Jaden Short. So with me, I'm always concerned about durability. And he's had 3 calves and a hamstring in 2 years and also regressed this year. But obviously they have Dan Rioli gone. I think Rioli averaged nearly 100 or somewhere in the 90s. Who's going to take that? Could it be a younger player? I know they've got Tom Brown back there, but he's not a massive accumulator. So yeah, I'm not too sure who takes that spot. I suspect Short probably being a leader back there will help them massively. Otherwise, who knows? Like, if they don't have Short there, like, who's actually going to be running the show back there? I have no idea. So I suspect he'll be back, but we've seen Dimmer did play with his role a little bit. So I don't think Short's the worst pick. And if he has a full preseason, I think it's okay if you want to take the punt. Am I reading this right? He played 22 last year. I thought he was injured a lot. That might have been... He did. He played 22. What am I thinking? So he just had maybe the one injury here. Okay. I think I'm going to consider him for fantasy with a full preseason, but for me, a little bit of trust issues. But yeah, we know he's preseason specialist as well. So not for me at this stage, but I think it's out of these guys, if I had to pick one, it's probably Short. Matt Roberts has the early bye. A lot of people will be running Callum, so it will be a bit hard to run both of them, but I wait and see on the roll. I suspect it'll be defense, and I think in the last few weeks he was the main guy there. If Callum moves up the ground, Roberts stays back, that could be good. Definitely as a fantasy game. I think in the SNFL he had a few 200 scores. Not SNFL, under 18s in Supercoach. So that's shown he's got that pedigree, which is good. Next player I have here, I believe, is Harry Perryman. Let's look at Perryman's numbers. He's played a bit of back. I remember watching him in the midfield and he looked pretty good. Another one who has pretty poor durability. Never really plays 22, or hasn't played over 20. Did a hamstring earlier in the year. I can't remember why he missed this, but I think this here was a hamstring, potentially. Has averaged 94. This was in defense, but it's a little bit hard to tell. Has the buy as well. For me, it's just not enough. This is a durability risk. Is he definitely going to stay in the midfield? Because he can sort of play anywhere. They've got Pendlebury, Degoe, Dacos, maybe Ed Allen, who got CBAs in the last game. So I'm not too sure. I guess he's that defensive tackling mid, which can help Nick and Degoe, but maybe helps the balance there. So maybe they see him like that. But there's also a few games where he did play midfield. I won't bring it up at the moment, but he scored a bunch of 40s, 50s, and 60s, I think over 3 games. But I believe he was tagging those games, so I wouldn't read too much into those games. But he has looked good in the brief stints I've seen him in the midfield in previous years. One thing I did find strange, though, was that he didn't get any mid opportunity with Cogs and Kelly injured throughout the year. So I thought he would have got some opportunity there, but that wasn't to be. So that was a bit weird. So yeah, I can't explain that. Moving down the list, you got Burton here. Not a big fan of Burton. I think he's been like dropped and stuff. So anyone with the best 22 risk for that price is definitely a no. Who have I got next? De Conning, I don't think will play Ruck consistently enough. As soon as like Conway, if he's fit, they'll probably play Conway. Callum Mills. He'll be a popular pick. Mills, sort of the best one clearly in this price bracket of 350k, and does have keeper potential. Looks like he's buffed up over preseason. Very injury prone. With a full preseason and his ceiling, I'm willing to take that risk given his price and what he can do. I think he's in my team unless proven otherwise. Worth noting that the role we're not too sure on just yet. You would think midfield. Down back would be odd because he's too good in the midfield, but can his body handle it? Archie Roberts played pretty well late last year, but I haven't really seen a big enough sample. Player not in my team at the moment is Kitty Coleman. Pretty cheap, like almost rookie price, 270k. So just see how he progresses over preseason. See if he's ready or not. Might be a bit touch and go. Do they ease him in? We'll see. So not in my team at the moment, but if he's on kick-in, he'll be on kick-ins and stuff. But it's just how ready is he going to be? That's really the main thing we're sort of looking for with Kitty Coleman, and yeah, wait and see, because it'll be exactly 12 months essentially between surgery and round 1. Rory Atkins, probably SNFL for him. Sin, is he that good? I don't know. Do they throw Burgoyne back there? And they are the defenders, so not really looking at any defenders bar Mills at the moment. I think short you could consider because no Rioli and upside and stuff, but otherwise, yeah, maybe Roberts too, but a little bit iffy down back. More than happy to pay for like a Sheasel and Sinclair first, and then like I don't mind Jordan Clark at the price, but I think he might just be outside the top 6 defenders. Moving on to the midfield. So we'll start at the 500k range. Probably not Hewitt, but we'll start with Will Day. So Will Day, you may have seen, I'm sure you've probably seen this if you're doing your research, but yeah, he put up some good numbers when you take away the excuse games. William Day. So averaged 91 this year. Bit of a train wreck the last 3 games. Tagged, injured. So you take out those 3 and this form's pretty good. Slow start coming back from whatever injury he had, I don't remember. But other than that, like scored incredibly well. Certainly Supercoach, not as good in fantasy. But definitely, I guess durability will always be an issue. Not so much the soft tissue stuff, but seems to just injure like every single sort of body part, like shoulder. I think he's had a lot of those contact, like joint injuries, early days for him. But this is one I'm sort of looking at. I think he'll be a good pick. He has the bye though. And for me, it's like, I think I'd rather pay an extra 50 for Petrarca or extra 60. So yeah, and then it's, yeah, sort of with the bye as well, it's sort of hard to fit him in. So I think he's a good pick. So he's one I'm considering. The next one is Oliver. So for me, he needs to prove, like with these mid prices, I'm not running a lot of them because I think the way I look at it is they need to prove, I need to think they're good enough based on what I see and read and stuff like that. Whereas Oliver, the classic, I've mentioned this a couple of times already on this channel, but it's not just the off-field stuff, it's the on-field, the injuries that he carried throughout the year. Sounds like he's free of those now, like actually having a proper preseason. Apparently still carrying a few kilos that he probably shouldn't, but yeah, no pins in the hand anymore, no knee soreness that he played through. Much better block of preseason. You know, last year got sent home from the training camp probably because he was in pretty poor shape, or I don't know, mentally, physically, who knows. But role's going to be perfect, like 80% CBA mid, you would think. So yeah, the upside is too good to pass, and also has that round 15 buy. So if he's not doing it for us, or he's just averaging in the 90s, we're not worth trading, but not worth keeping for the full season. We can get rid of him on that round 15 buy, which is again why I like Petrarca with that buy round. Saligo, I don't think I put him on my list, but I'll put him here anyway. Bit of a mid squeeze at the Crows. What were the CBA's early days? CBA's were pretty good, and then back end of the year, I believe he played through a bit of groin soreness in the second half of the year, which contributed to his form tailing off. But yeah, did get a lot of the CBAs. Dawson's were a little bit up and down throughout the year. They got Peatling now. I think, yeah, Laird will be gone from the CBAs. Pretty confident that will happen. I think Berry will be out the team. Geez, we're giving a lot of time to Berry. And Rankin CBA sort of dried up back half of the year. No, that's Zach Taylor. Yeah, okay, Rankin CBA's bit of injury, bit of suspension. So I think Rankin will take... I think that 40-50% mark's perfect for Rankin because we need him forward, but need him midfield too. So Saliga's probably a no, but I definitely think there's upside there, and we'll see what happens with Sid Draper and Peatling and stuff. As much as I hate soft players with terrible soft tissue history, there's a good article on Chera where he goes to Dubai. I think it's Dubai or Qatar. No, I think it's Qatar. It's Qatar, yeah. And he's like all hooked up to like machines and stuff, and I think they sort of fixed some nerve in his hamstring from what I read on the Carlton Big Footy board. And yeah, we saw what Qatar did for the West Coast boys. So I'm semi-interested in Shearer. I need to see 4 preseason hit the ground running. And even with 4 preseasons, players with terrible injury history, I still have been hesitant. But after watching like a Yo last year, it sort of swayed me the other way just a little bit. So Shearer, and if you look at Shearer's numbers, I think he did 110 the year before, which is pretty damn good. So I expect him to be in the starting mid-rotation. 108, that might have been with a sub game. Okay, that score was good when he got subbed. So yeah, it does... floor is like a few 70s in here, but for the most part, like capable of 39 touches, like pretty good. A few 30 game touches, like pretty consistent for the most part. Like yeah, a few slightly down games, but for that price, for sure he's going to outdo his price. All going well. Is he actually fixed or not? I think that's the guesswork. So I'm keeping an eye on it, and he's in my fantasy team. Supercoach not at the moment. Will Ashcroft is an interesting one. I'm half tempted to just run Day Oliver, Chera, and Will Ashcroft in the draft, or just like maybe just full send it. Do something completely different to what you're seeing at the moment. I am thinking about it, but I don't know. It seems a little risky, but we'll see. Yeah, Will Ashcroft. I think the CBAs should go up with him. He was... like as good as he was, he's still coming off half forward a lot, and their floor with him was still a lot of poor games, even like somewhat early. Where am I looking? FP? No, that's the wrong one. But as you can see, FP fantasy points, there's like a few 70s in here, like so like Brisbane were rolling as well. So yeah, CBA's for me not quite high enough, even though he scored okay. He did like dominate. He's going to dominate. I mean, he could, but yeah, he's not going to get best on ground every game, for example. So I'm interested, yeah, sort of interested in Will Ashcroft, see how good he looks in pre-season. I guess the trap could be they give him more mid-clock in pre-season, and then they go back to having the main 3 and being Ashcroft the 4th one with the 30-40% CBAs. Maybe they eat into everyone's CBAs a little bit and they have more of an even spread. Especially early in the year. I believe Neil's had surgery on his, might have been ankle or something. So he's might be a bit slow to get going. So maybe they give Ashcroft a bit more responsibility. So we'll see how that goes. But not in my team at the moment. The buy is quite annoying. Without the buy, I think he'd probably be in. But yeah, these 4 mids, I'm quite bullish on these 4. Potentially Saligo too, but just not sure. but more confident in the other 4 because I think they'll all be like Day, Oliver, Chera. They should be starting mids. Maybe Hewitt is in there. Maybe he's a better fit with the other 2. I don't know, but yeah, all in the top 4. I think Day top 2, Oliver top 1, Chera 3 or 4, Ashcroft 3 or 4. So that is that. Any more mids? Any more mids? A few more. Cogs is pretty cheap. I believe he's had off-season surgery and has the buy as well. So he's probably no, plus age regression potentially. I think you can do worse than Cogs for sure, but probably no for me. Who do we have next? We have... we'll go to Peatling. So yeah, I believe Peatling in this stretch... I'm going to go like this. Got this cord in front of me that's in the way. As you can see, the CBAs are pretty good for Peatling. I guess the last round they kind of got taken away. Tog for the most part is pretty good. Like can play 85 Tog. A few low Tog games though, like 65 here. But this is roughly like 65% CBAs, average 88. So it's not too bad. This is fantasy. I believe it was 90 for Supercoach off 65 CBAs roughly. So yeah, looking at the Crows midfield mix, we need to find CBAs again. Still got like Sid Draper to come in as well. Maybe they're up rankings. Maybe Rochelle gets a few here and there. And yeah, Peatling. So I don't know how the squeeze goes. Who comes out? I think Crouch will still be in there. Like if he's... I guess the problem with Crouch is versatility. In terms for midfield structure, he's bench or mid pretty much. So I think that role will continue because he's our best extractor by a mile. But we'll see what happens. Peatling, I just want to see the CBAs in preseason. So I'm not like obviously still read about what's going on in preseason. Apparently he's going really well, but I want to see what they say because he did say he is versatile, and there's nothing worse than watching a player on the wing and you have him. So unless it's Gordon, or maybe even Nick Martin. So that is that. Any other mids? Oh, I can't read my writing. I just have Isaac Cumming here as well, and McAuliffe. Now, Cumming's best position, I really don't want to say this name too often because I'm going to slip up and say something stupid, but his best position's halfback. He's been playing, from what I've read, he's played a bit of wing in preseason from the training reports. From the reports on Big Footy, he's the guy that has been saying that he's been playing wing, whereas when I read from the advertiser, they're saying he's playing halfback. So I don't know what to believe. So we'll see what happens. Done a hammy, which is a huge red flag. Part of the issue with the Isaac Cumming pick, I think I'm just better off saying the full name, is Hinge is halfback and Laird is halfback. Laird's training halfback this preseason. I wouldn't have Laird in the best 22 personally. I would have Isaac Cumming and Hinge off halfback, but I think the Crows rate Laird highly and they will play him halfback, which means Cumming might have to split his time between back and wing. We'll see what happens. He's not in my team at the moment. He was in my team before, like as soon as trade period happened, put together a team. Isaac Cumming was right there, but not at the moment because of this wing time and injury. I don't like it. Now, if he's clearly playing halfback and he's coming off a hamstring preseason, do you still pick him because of the price? Probably. I'm a little hesitant though, but yeah, it would be a pretty bad miss if he's pure halfback and he's that price and doesn't get injured because he's pretty cheap. 280k is not a lot. So that's one for later on in the preseason. So again, not in my team because I need to see more. The last one I had was McAuliffe. I thought he looked alright. Low Tog. His tank was clearly not good enough last year. Just worth monitoring. because what does the mid look like for Richmond? Is it still Taranto, Hopper, Prestia? For me, that makes no sense at this point of their development. Might as well throw some kids in there. Okay, Rucks. Have 2 Rucks here. So Conway, apparently he is in limited training, just doing laps at the moment. But yeah, Chris Scott and Ruckman, just, you can't trust it. It's about as trustworthy as the ice cream machine. So you know it's unreliable. You know Conway can break down. Yeah, not for me. And the other one is Matt Flynn. This is probably not the sure thing I thought it was, because I thought, okay, rucking competitions, BJ Williams supposed to be the number 1 ruck in 2024. So surely he has that sewed up, but I'm not sure that's the case. I did read he did pretty poorly in like the running or the time trials or something on the West Coast Big Footy board. Not a great sign, and his around the ground stuff has never been that great. Like his DT is pretty poor. Like when he's rucked, his DT scores in like the 70s. For a ruckman, it's not good enough if you want to be a starting ruck, but a Supercoach is not too bad. It's like extra 10 points. Sort of 85 and 260k is essentially a very expensive rookie if you think of it like that. And the ruck role is just unbelievable for Supercoach. So he's in based on role for now. I think it'll be hard to ignore if he's that number 1 ruck. Just has to stay fit and hold his place. So is injury prone as well, but also provides that ruck cover. So if something goes wrong with TDK or Sherry, if you're starting them, or maybe you have, I don't know, Meek or something, or Gorn, you don't really want to trade a Sherry out if he's missing a week, or, cop that donut. We'll have the 23, so we can sort of cover it there, but we can still get that extra score, that 23rd score, if we have a Flynn. So we saw last year when Sweet went down, had sort of nowhere to go, didn't have Luke Jackson, so I had to force a ruckman in. That being in that situation, I've been in that situation every second year. It's terrible because it ruins your plans, and you got to address it quickly or cop a 0. So I think that little bonus is nice as well. But Flynn is in. The only mid-price I have at the moment outside of the forward line, I think, is Flynn and Callum Mills. Now, I'm not going to speak about the main forwards, so McRae, those other guys, Baz, Daniel, Philippou. I'm not going to speak about them because I think they speak for themselves. I don't see a good enough reason to fade him at the moment, but I'm still watching Jake McRae, see how he looks. I did read that McRae was training with the B, or they did like an A versus B and McRae was with the Bs, but that might have been just to balance the teams. I don't really know. So, worth monitoring there, but I think they brought him in for a reason, and I expect he'll get first crack. Who have we got here? Okay, first player I've got is Liam Baker. Baker's been a pain in the ass for fantasy, a bit of a tease because he can go big, but his floor is horrendous, and he is versatile. So does he play half back? Does he stay there? Does he play midfield? Does he play half forward? I don't know. Apparently he's been with the backs in preseason, and I believe he can score. I did own him 1 year in fantasy. I think it was 2 years ago I started him because I thought they were playing Short more up the ground, and that wasn't the case round 1. As soon as Short went down back, it completely killed Baker's scoring potential. So down back, if he's one of the main guys back there, he can score back there. So I'm a bit more confident if he's playing down back and he's sort of like the main guy maybe on kick-ins. It's just a watch at the moment. I still feel with Baker, he's just too, McWalter will know how useful he is, Mr. Fix-It. So in other roles, so can you guarantee he stays down back? No. So for me, that's enough for a no, but worth watching. Shea Bolton has done, I believe it was, let me check the CBAs. I guess we'll go Richmond. So I believe he averaged 95 or 96 this year. Shea had 53% CBAs. And he averaged 95 or 50% CBAs. It's pretty good. Do they need him forward or mid more? I guess you'd have to ask a Freo supporter that. My mind would say probably forward. But maybe that, I think it was, we'll look at Freo CBAs, who CBAs can he take? It's obviously got to be Nat Fyfe. So 5 throughout the year, 60% CBAs. Does the coach have the balls to tell him to play waffle all year? I guess that will be one to watch, because it should have happened. And as great as he is, he's much older now and sort of not useful outside of a stoppage. So I did show outside game at times, but probably not enough to warrant starting mid spots. But yeah, still his like inside stuff is pretty good. But Shea will add to that balance. And this 77, like Richmond, pretty well checked out a lot of the senior players. They probably knew where the season was going, the future of the club, and sort of resetting. So I think when he starts in a winning team, a bit more mid clock as well. How much mid clock did he get this year? Okay, he actually got a decent amount, 54%. Just scored poorly. I guess maybe, yeah. Richmond were just terrible this year. They know where they're at and resetting. So, Shea can be I owned him back half of 1 year, and I think he averaged 100 until then. I brought him in, averaged 65 for me. So he can be a bit of a painful pick, but without a doubt, I think he beats that price. So look, one to watch, I think. Next player I have is Kennedy. Now, Richards, Libba, Bont, and who's the other one? Richards, Libba, Bont, Trelaw, obviously. Okay, so there's 4 mids ahead of him, plus Sanders, depending on how he progresses. 5th or 6th mid, for me, it's a bit of a mess. And yeah, Bevo's Bevo, so who knows? So that's a no for me. Connor McDonald looks like he's settled in this half forward role. You're not going to click on some of the more popular guys, because I think most of us have 90% of them, if not all of them. But yeah, still anti-potting stuff can work out, so it's worth looking into everyone. Rochelle probably doesn't really belong worth a spot here, but has been training a bit in the midfield, so thought I'd put that out there. Luke Parker might have to take Simpkins CBAs. Maybe it's they swap, both of those two swap mid and forward. But yeah, obviously a few names ahead of them, at least 3 names. Parker at best is probably going to be the 4th mid. Unless they play Sheezel more half forward, he could be the 3rd mid. It's one to just keep an eye on. Sanders did quite well in the VFL. How'd he go? He did get a bit of mid-clock at the end of the year, and probably didn't score super well. Where is he? Yeah. I think he lost a bit of confidence just watching him. But yeah, VFL, look at this. Just killed it, but it is VFL, so probably too good for VFL, but worth watching. And sub-risk as well. Not really sure where he's at. Any other players? I cannot read my own writing. Hobbs. Probably not going to go Hobbs. Just too many names ahead of him. Probably one more worth looking at is Hugo Garcia. I think he's unlimited. He's limited training at the moment, but apparently he's put on a bit of size and been looking really good in pre-season. Every chance he plays half forward or deep forward or something. I did like the look of him. I want to see his numbers in the VFL. I think they were pretty good, but he's extremely high tackler. And for me, I did find it odd that I'm a big fan of Ross Lyon, but I did find it odd that he just persisted with a Seb Ross and a few older players when guys like Garcia just sat as sub or VFL. I really thought they should have given him more chance. But yeah, 160, probably 12 tackles, 15 tackles, 10 tackles. So tackles like a madman, which is good. Still winning a bit of the ball as well. Not a massive amount of the ball. Yeah, could be an interesting one if he goes to the next level. But yeah, worth keeping an eye on. And then last player I have, Hutchinson, I believe, is injured at the moment, but did get a few CBAs and looked okay. Is it Mark? No, Jack. Yeah. Okay. Only got the 37% CBAs and scored a 73. Yeah, if he's getting a partial CBA role and he's low 200s, it could be worth looking at. Just one to keep a brief eye on. And then the last one, Ryan Marriage, I believe is training with the defender groups, according to Big Footy Training Report. So that is what I've got here at the moment. So again, the ones I like at the moment that I'm confident in, Day, Oliver, Shearer, Ashcroft in terms of scoring ability. Still like maybe a slight question mark on Shearer CBAs, but I think they'll all score well. I think they're good picks at this stage. Mills, I think, hopefully, optimistic about Mills just because he's captain. They've got to give him some sort of prime role, hopefully in the midfield where he's best. Flynn I like, and then everyone else I'm a little bit iffy on. I want to see the CBAs for Peatling because, yeah, and that's why I'm thinking about, I've got Bont here. I do feel like I want to split Bont into some of these guys, maybe like a Day and a Chera if I can find a bit of extra money. I'd rather those two than Bont and a rookie. It's probably a bit more money, Bont and a 200k Rook. We'll see. But yeah, at the moment, I do think there's a bit of money to be made in the midfield. Just depends on like Ed Allen looks good. Like all these, I think a decent chance for some sort of CBAs. So we'll see. And yeah, I think Levi Ashcroft. Apparently, he's not even going to play in the community series or whatever it is. Apparently, he's still going to be recovering from a shoulder surgery. So that's interesting. One to keep an eye on. And yeah, Kitty, if he's looking good and ready, you probably got to pick him. But I would like to be proven first. So that's it from me. Let me know if you have any other mid prices, if you want my input on them, or which plays that you like at the moment that are mid prices. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one.